Morning, everyone. Just wait for a couple more people to come on. Well, good morning from cold, snowy Ottawa. Finally, winter's caught up with us. We are here in the new year, 2016, and the house is going up, and I'm standing on the second floor, which is why you can see the beautiful horizon view behind me. But I'm going to give you guys a quick update on where we're at with the construction, talk a little bit about how winter weather has affected us, and talk about some of the changes that we're making on the fly as we go. So let me flip the camera around here so you have a better view of what I'm seeing. The first thing that's challenging is operating this camera with gloves on. Anyways, here we are. We're up on the second floor deck. So you can see, as I pan around, we're getting the beautiful sunrise this morning. It's cold, but at least it's sunny out. We're not getting any snow in the forecast today, which is great. And this is the view from the bedroom level of the house. Looking out towards the east, you can see towards downtown, you can see the horizon over the houses. And you can see how we're starting to get great sun exposure up here, which is going to be good for our solar gains. So you're really getting a sense now of how much lower our neighbor to the south is, which is one of the big blessings that we have for our project. So we're already up above the roof line. And this tree is kind of going to be a little bit of a shade in the early morning in the winter, but we're going to get up over that tree in the shoulder seasons, which will be great.
And as I turn, you can see our front bedroom wall is up in place with our first bedroom window there.
We'll take a look down there. And you can also probably notice all of the snow and frost and ice and tarps we've got going on, which has definitely proved to be a challenge over the last few weeks. We suddenly got a lot of snow, and so we're spending time clearing snow. We've had to take some time to tarp over the openings to try and keep snow out of the house. And of course, we're now having to fight with cold materials and cold sealants. So we're using a sealant caulking with the wood fiber board that we have to keep warm by the heater in order to keep it soft enough to work with. There's a primer for the tape that's proving to be a little bit tricky to work with. It ices up almost immediately as we use it, so we're having to modify the speed at which we work with that. All in all, winter construction, it's getting more challenging, but the guys are still doing a great job. One of the things we've changed with our walls is we've started to frame them in slightly smaller sections. So you can see the next wall is ready to go up here. The original design called for the walls to go up in full sections, so one full wall at a time. But as you get up onto the second floor, one of the things we found was that trying to frame the entire front wall at once and stand it up, not only was a little bit slow using the wall jacks and doing all the bracing, but there was nowhere to stand on the outside. You can see we're right to the edge of the house here. And so to work on the outside edges was proving to be a little bit too tricky to do. So we've decided to start framing in smaller sections and using a temporary hinge at the bottom of the wall to stand them up by hand and do away with the wall jacks. Even though they worked really well, we think this is going to go a little bit faster now. So smaller sections of wall, and we're going to keep going. Our value for the final walls, the question came in, the frame walls up here are going to have 3 layers of R24 Roxel, plus 1 layer of R14 Roxel, plus about R10 in the wood fiber board. So you do that math, and I think you end up at about R96 in these walls, somewhere in that range.
I'll give you a bit of a view out our front window into the canopy of our tree. Yeah, thanks. It's going to be nice when we get that insulation in and start to feel the warmth. It'd be nice to get working inside. So here's the tape we've got. You can see the primer is still visible with a little bit of frost in it. It's a bit of a tricky thing. So when we get
stretches of warmer days, we're going to take another look at all of the primer and make sure that we're getting a good seal on that. The materials are holding up very well though, I have to say, considering how cold it's been yesterday and today. So that's a positive thing. There's Kyle bringing up some more panels of the wood fiber board. You can see the size of the wood fiber board, as I mentioned before, is some metric sizing, so it's not full sheets of plywood sized board that you're used to seeing. And the tongue and groove there is what's key to making those joints work on our standard framing. This wall shows a good in-progress section with the window buck in place, 3/4 inch plywood to allow for good installation of our Gullhofer windows. And there's the tarp showing our open to below space over the dining room that's being framed in. Other than the weather, what's the biggest challenge for us? The biggest challenge for us, well, it really is the weather. I mean, we're racing to get closed in. We're trying to have the roof on by the end of the month so we can start getting the insulation and the windows in. Other than that, the biggest challenge for us, I think, has been trying to sequence the delivery of material. There's been a lot of material needed to build walls this thick, and it's a very compact infill site. So we've had to make very good use of our lot and our generous neighbors' front yard and backyards to store all of our materials. You can see we've also had to keep the snow off the materials with tarps and trying to keep them clear. For power, we've been very fortunate. Our neighbors have allowed us to plug in to their house, which makes the power situation a lot simpler to deal with. For heat, we're using a very small propane heater right now, just for materials. Once we get the insulation into the rest of the house, I think that we won't have as much of an issue there. And of course, the other biggest challenge has been holidays, which are fantastic, but slow us down. So now we're in the new year, we'll be full tilt. I'll give you a bit of an overview before I sign off here. Looking back at the house, there's that glorious front wall. And there you have it. Let's see if I can flip the camera around again with these